come once again to discuss things.
Welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Part 2. Joining me today is...
Hey, what's up? I'm that Matt kid.
I'm also a geek for fun who is also here, also.
I'm Steve and really sleepy.
Oh no, Sleepy Steve. That's the worst kind of Steve.
I understand. We record this show at 8 o'clock and I'm in my bed by like 8:30.
Oh my god.
What the fuck are you doing? Like, dude, you're how old?
26.
Hey, Steve's the buttercup of this Powerpuff Girls situation, alright? Like, he needs to...
There's 4 of us, we can't all be Powerpuff
You're the
Girls.
professor!
Oh. God damn. He had that one ready. Oh, yeah, yeah, it's funny, like, dude, I was up till fucking 12:30 last night and I have a baby. What the fuck are you doing? Anyway.
Early though, I guess that's the offset.
Fair enough. Anyway, so yeah, we're here for our, I guess this would be the Christmas special episode of Geeky Gentlemen, where we're going to talk about, do you have to be nice on Christmas?
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's a holiday month episode, and I don't know how much mileage we'll get out of this one. I don't really care how long this is.
It'll be fun. It'll be real cash.
Yeah, totally. So, I don't know, this is just something that entered my head because I feel like there is a perception of person who does not like Christmas and they are mean and evil or whatever. And it's you know, kind of perpetrated. Propagated. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Those two words both work. By Christmas media, and I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I'm not saying be evil on Christmas. I'm not saying be like fucking Scrooge or what's his name from It's a Wonderful Life. We were watching Mr. Potter. But at the same time, I'm like, do you have to be like nice, or can you just Merry Christmas to you too? Bye. Like, can you be like a little bit of a dick on Christmas? Is that like acceptable? Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily that you have to be nice on Christmas, but to pull from my epic reservoir of psychoanalysis from Hallmark movies, it's that generally speaking, if you're a dick during Christmas, there's something deeper going on as to why you can't be nice during Christmas. You can tell fundamentally whether or not someone's got dickish tendencies by whether or not they like Christmas.
I think Steve hits on something interesting there, because like we talked about in our snow episode, the holidays kind of like enhance everything. So like if life is going good, it's going particularly good during Christmas time. But if shit kind of sucks in your life, then shit sucks in your life like extra hard during Christmas time. And I mean, I'm joking, but I mean, but I joke, but like, you know, that is a very serious thing. A lot of people get very depressed during the holidays. So like, I feel like there's a lot that plays into it. A lot of like context with where you are at in your life, and also who it is. You know, we're talking about, you know, who are you being nice or being a dick to? Is it like fucking strangers or your family? And you know, there's so many different things that could kind of play into it.
Yeah, I don't know, Alfie. What are your general thoughts on do you have to be nice during Christmas?
Like, it's one of those things where, can it be heard?
Yeah, there must be a bit of delay.
Okay. It's one of those things where generally, like, when is it ever socially acceptable to be a dick, right? Like, when is it? Like, I think specifically, it's not like Christmas is like, okay, now you can stop. It's kind of my thing. It's just like, it's genuinely not, there's no dickish season. It's not like fucking Easter. It's like, all right, bring out the stink eye for this specific period of time. It's just even though generally most people in the average day to day aren't going to be sunshines and rainbows all the time, you also got a general day to day. There's like the idea of like the common courtesy, which you could make the argument died a painful, miserable death like 20 years ago. But at the same time, it is a notion that kind of persists, especially like in pop culture or general. I think it's funny, especially given like the region I come from and like expectations. I think that's more of a thing in America of like, hey, slow down with the curse words there, son. Like, or stuff like that. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me being fucking a dumbass, but like, it's one of the, in England, it's almost accepted just to be rude all the time. But I do notice from people and how I to people sometimes that's like, whoa, you can't just casually say that to someone you don't know that well or something like that. Like I cuss like a sailor or something to like a random stranger on the internet if they happen to be not from England. That tends to come off across a little bit more. So I think that's like the largest question of like Matt said, where things like exaggerated. Genuinely, people will come at you if you are just genuinely a dick, like normally, but it's double that at Christmas because this is meant to be the one time of year where like even the Germans came out and played football, and like, why can't we all just get along?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just wonder because it seems like there's this pressure to, like, this extra pressure to not be a dick, and there's like a societal weight around it that like, oh, if you do anything even remotely dickish on the holidays, unless it's to a retail worker, because of course they're not people, but if you do anything even remotely dickish on the holidays, then you're just the worst kind of person. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but also like, you know, it's a very stressful time of year for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So I feel like the perception of like this enforced, you have to be cheery, you have to be helpful, or you have to be bouncing off the walls, you have to love Christmas and love everything, gets kind of like overblown and saturated, and then it makes people who just aren't super into the holiday feel like they need to kind of swing further the other way into hating Christmas. I don't know.
I think the other thing there is also people that are generally kind of just dicks all the time are somehow kind of less dickish around Christmas, or at the very least you get situations where people are really dickish and then they get really, really into the holidays, and so they're a dick to you if you're not into the holidays on the same level as they are. And so you create this sort of like false perception where like, I'm not the bad guy because I'm very clearly trying to make this a good holiday by giving you all of the basic superficial trappings. And if you don't like my dickish way of presenting those things, then you're the real dick.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess this is weird because this is a topic I probably would have been much more passionate about a couple years ago when I don't know. I feel like not working retail has made me enjoy Christmas a whole hell of a lot more than I used to.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Like, it really changes your perception of the holiday when you're not, like, even remotely exposed to retail, and when you're not fucking, forced to listen to Christmas music for 8 hours a day. That is an experience I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Like, you know, you hear about, like, fucking Guantanamo where they played Barney music for prisoners for hours on end, and I'm like, God, well, go walk into just like one fucking retail store, you stupid bastards.
Oh yeah, that's like when I used to work at GameStop when I was like late high school age, like right before college, and I remember I did like I worked like the midnight launch of Skyrim, and that sucked. And then I also worked like Black Friday and just like all that whole, because Skyrim launched in November, so just that whole like November to December time frame I was working. And I mean, it just, because like dealing with shoppers on Christmas is so like disillusioning, because you just meet these people who are just fucking, who have put off their shopping till the last minute. They're desperate to get this gift, and their own sort of the way they're handling their Christmas gift buying has made them become stressed and just upset and pissed off, and you're having to deal with that. The holiday stress, I think, is not to be downplayed at all, because I remember my wife, she did the Disney college program, and she would run into people on the daily who were just fucking assholes, and I'm sure in day-to-day life they're perfectly nice people, but the stress of like having to plan a vacation, going there with your family, making sure everyone's having a good time, and if one thing goes wrong, it's just like, it's fucking the end of the world. And it's just like, and that level of stress just like brings out the shittiness in you. And I feel like the holidays do that to a lot of people, where it's just like there's so much to do, so much to prepare for. And I hope that if COVID has one silver lining, I hope that having fewer family gatherings will maybe reduce the stress in some people's lives on some level. But honestly, that's probably counterbalanced by the fact that there's a pandemic, so I don't fucking know. But I feel like that stress definitely contributes to just being a fucking dick. And then if you're the retail worker in that situation, you're not then gonna go home and be like super hype on Christmas. You're just gonna be like, these fucking people and their fucking nonsense. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, I think the gift that COVID has given to a lot of people is, if you hate your family, you can be like, oh no, I don't want to spread the virus, so I'm staying home for the holidays this year. It's just the worst. I'm sorry. I think that's the gift a lot of people got with COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think so, because like I can go back to older episodes of Geeky Gentleman Holiday Month, and I'm very anti-Christmas in the beginning. I was like, oh god, I hate this. This movie sucks, and this thing sucks, and I just hate Christmas. And like, just as I get out of retail and go to a different job, and I'm not exposed to Christmas music and shoppers. And even when I was working retail, I was working mostly in the back room, but just fucking Christmas music's the worst thing ever. I was working mostly in the back room, so it just kind of makes you cynical. And then there's like this added, I guess, pressure that like, oh well, if you complain about this thing, then there's something wrong with you. I'm like, well, fucking go in my brain, feel all this shit, and then come back out and tell me I'm wrong. Because it's not about like I don't want other people to enjoy the holiday. It's that I think it's just that when you're in a particular situation and you're maybe not in love with the thing, it makes it difficult to put on a face for, I guess, when you're constantly exposed to a thing on a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's fair. There's like the idea of Christmas being such a all-encapsulating thing that you can't avoid it. Like even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I think is also maybe a thing that people doesn't realize when like factored into the situation. Is like, well, I don't celebrate this holiday. Why should I have an obligation for festive cheer? Idea that it's a universal thing, or that the idea of Christmas being so overwhelming that even if you don't like work in real time, you're not like in the thick of it, it's still like you just look outside and you'll see people put Christmas decorations up, or you'll go on the internet and you'll see Christmas things and Christmas related. There's no way to avoid it in just how Christmas has become this giant marketing extravaganza So that, in general, with how humans' minds are worked, is gonna piss people off. Just no, even if you were enjoying, even if you were like the king of Cock Island, and you were just like absolutely in orgasmic bliss 24/7 a day, by like week 2, you're gonna be like, oh god, enough with Cock Island. So I think that's part of it with Christmas, is because it goes on for such a long period of time and it kind of like involves so much stress, while also like being in a short period of time, like to prepare, especially for people who kind of leave things the last minute and like have to just like mad dash. All of that stress you guys have mentioned earlier is compounded with the fact that you've been in this microcosm of Christmas that I think is guaranteed to, if not always, is going to piss some people off. Like, regardless, you'll never have a Christmas when no one is pissed off simply because it is Christmas now. It's just like human beings aren't really good with dealing with sustained, this is the same thing day in, day out kind of thing for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like we've mentioned so far, it is kind of a trade-off where, like, if anyone's going to have a really good Christmas, it almost inevitably is because other people are having a really, really shitty Christmas. Where, like, if you got all your Christmas shopping done and you survived them all and you got everything wrapped and everything's all set to go and it's like a last-minute Christmas Eve and you just feel really good about yourself, it's because you probably made some guy's day at the mall a living hell. And it's not necessarily the case that everyone that shops for Christmas is a dick, but like a lot of the celebratory things about feeling good about Christmas almost necessitate annoying people. I love Christmas decorations. I understand that most people do not, and a lot of people actually don't. And if you live in a house with people that are like that, then my need to put up Christmas decorations and Christmas lights is definitely going to piss off my roommates who don't want to pay that electrical bill.
I remember I used to I used to work in a call center for Verizon, and I actually worked Christmas Day, and like I actually really didn't mind because they paid us overtime, and like so few people called Christmas Day, but like so you got paid like a ton of money to take basically like 5 calls the whole day, and every person who called in without fail, they would be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you guys were open on Christmas. And I'm just like, well, you called so clearly. And that's like, and I'm like that's my fucking trip. Like, well, if you wouldn't call, we wouldn't be open. And so like that's kind of the unfortunate thing with like the how capitalistic Christmas is that like
I remember Manos talked about that when he worked at the fucking movie theater, and he'd be scheduled to work like Thanksgiving or Christmas, and they go like, man, I can't believe they got you working Thanksgiving, or I can't believe they got you working on Christmas Day. Yeah, well, it's because you're showing up to watch a movie, so exactly.
So like some people do straight up have to like work on Christmas, and like there's this feeling of like bullshit that comes with that. You're just like in your mind, just like, this is fucking bullshit. This is so stupid. I can't believe I'm fucking working on Christmas. And it's like, well, yeah, because of how like because of the way our society is, and how like capitalism dominated it is, like people are gonna fucking want to go do shit on Christmas. And it's like, it's kind of inevitable that, exactly like Steve was saying, it's like, oh, I want the convenience of being able to do these things on Christmas Day. That means some other poor fuck has to be working and doing their job.
I mean, can it just
Day.
be like the Jews and the Chinese working on Christmas, like how it's supposed to be?
There's like cynically something kind of makes sense about that in like a really fucked up way. It's like Christmas is a holiday that not everyone celebrates.
Yeah, it's fucking funny because I was listening to a story, Jewish reporter talking about, it was like, there's a kinsmanship between the Jews and Chinese restaurant owners that comes up around Christmas time because we're the only ones working. And so Jews, to have a Christmas tradition, of getting Chinese food. I'm just like, that's really funny.
I remember fucking like 2 Christmases ago. Actually, no, probably longer than that. Probably like 3 Christmases ago. So like, my mother, she has had 2 bouts with cancer. Survived both because she's a fucking badass.
Nice.
But the second bout, she was hospitalized during Christmas, which sucks. That obviously sucks. And she's kind of the one who's really into the decorating and the Christmas and stuff like that. I was home from college and my dad and I are alone and we're just like, we're not gonna fight. Like, we're shit at this day. So like the house did not get decorated or anything because like she was in the hospital for all of Christmas. She was in the hospital until mid-January. Like fucking, we weren't gonna fucking. Anyways, we ended up visiting her on Christmas Day in the hospital, and then we fucking ate at a Waffle House on Christmas Day. And like that sounds kind of shitty, but it was actually like a really sweet time because like we got to spend time together as a family and it was nice. And then I ended up just feeling bad for the fucking Waffle House workers. It felt very a Christmas story.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It's one of those things where
Maybe
like
that's what I
even
need.
in
We're
a
going over to
situation
my
that
mom's for
shitty, we still
Christmas.
tried to
Maybe
be
we gotta
happy.
pick up Chinese. Sorry. Yeah, we're going over to my mom's for Christmas this year. Maybe we should just pick up Chinese on the way.
Oh, there you
go. Yeah, I don't know. There is like a because it used to be everything was closed just because there was such like a just sense of, oh come on, it's Christmas, just give it this much. And slowly but surely that's been eroded away. And I mean, I've taken advantage of it to some degree in the past. Like, I used to travel between my mom and my dad's because he lived all the way up in Michigan. I used to travel between those two on either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And I'd probably have to, like, stop and get gas or something. And so someone would have to be working because, you know, people are still traveling on Christmas Day. You know, it sucks that, you know, Leah's first Christmas, Haley's going to be working because she's a CNA. So she's taking care of people in, you know, long-term care. So that's really unfortunate. She's not going to get to, like, have Christmas morning with Leah. She's going to have Christmas afternoon. You know, everyone's favorite memories of Christmas afternoon. So, I don't know. There's like a sense of, well, since it's bullshit for me, then I'm definitely not gonna put in an extra effort to be cheery for you. And what's weird is, I don't know, I certainly don't qualify for that, because even when I worked retail, I never had to work Christmas Day. And I don't know, it's probably like a first world problem. Probably on that level, I guess. Of just, no, but I don't like it because everyone else is fucking bullshitting right now. It's garbage. And I'm mad.
It's kind of weird because you guys mentioned this earlier about like how torturous it is to listen to Christmas music 8 hours a day working retail, but I gotta be honest, I used to like really, really look forward to the Christmas CD arriving when I was working in retail. And I've been working in retail for so long, and I've had so many like 8 to 12 hour days. Like Christmas Eve, I'd be working the entire day. I'd get Christmas Day off, and then be right back in at like 6 o'clock in the morning the day after Christmas. So it was almost meaningless. And this is the first year where I'm outside of a retail job. I work in an office now, and we have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off and the weekend, and it's like this 4-day break, and I'm like, wow, I can do something for Christmas. And I can't do anything because I don't have anyone to hang out with because everyone's going home for Christmas. So I'm just gonna like be in my apartment for 4 days, like doing fucking nothing. And it almost kind of makes me wish, like, damn, I kind of wish I had like go volunteer at like a soup kitchen or a retail job or something where I could just like see people.
Mm-hmm.
2020 do be like that though. If you're in the same situation next year, we'll have you for Christmas. I wouldn't mind that.
That'd be
It's
a nice
funny.
time.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. Like, that's gonna be kind of, if you need someone to chit chat with, feel free to hit me up, because I know it can suck to be alone on the holidays, and so it's like kind of hard to get excited for Christmas, I imagine, if you know that you're not really gonna have much going on during it.
Well, that's always kind of been my mentality, because my parents always worked jobs every holiday, so we never actually had like family Christmases together. And so ever since I have a kid, I've always like hyped up every single day leading up to the actual physical holiday. So I'll get super excited for Halloween, I'll get super excited for Thanksgiving, I'll get super excited for Christmas, and I'll just like front load all those positive emotions. And then like on the actual day of the holiday, I'll just kind of like sit there and mope. And then the next day happens and it's all fine after that.
Oh, that's interesting, Steve, because like I have like that. This is like so funny. It's like a running joke. Always, me and Steve will have like parallel lives, but like we're the opposite on like the choose your own adventure. Like we choose the different path. But it's like the same decision. I have that exact same situation growing up, but that didn't make me like get hype and then get like super somber. That just made me like stop caring about it. Like that just made me not. But when Christmas happens for me, at least in my current situation, it's just a thing that is happening, but I don't really interact with it that much. It's not something where I like look forward to it or like have a plan for it, because it's just something we didn't do for all of those times. Like there was no like go out for like a Christmas thing or a Christmas meal or stuff like that. It's just, people were just too busy. So it's almost like it's a out of body experience whenever I actually did have to do those things, because they were like a rarity, and then I didn't enjoy them because I was just like I didn't have nostalgia for them, I guess.
I mean, I guess the funny part here is your family actually celebrated Christmas, Steve?
Only because I made them. Only because I grew up as a kid who was basically raised by comic books and TV, and I saw on TV and in comic books, oh my god, Christmas looks like the greatest thing ever because everyone's family's together and everyone's happy all the time. We should totally do this. And my parents just took that to mean, oh, so you mean like a tree. So we had like a tree and did nothing else. I'm like, I mean, I can take or leave the tree. I kind of just wanted to hang out on Christmas.
And so began the origin story of Steve trying to explain comics to people and them not getting it.
I did actually have this like really, really old reprint of a Batman comic from the 40s or 50s. It was back when they did like multiple stories and there was just like 5 or 6 pages or so, and it was this really great one where like Batman and Robin were solving a mystery about a lost dog, and it was Christmas, and at the end of the mystery it turns out Robin stole the dog because he just wanted to give the stray a home for Christmas, and I'm like, yes, this is exactly it. This is the energy.
Oh, it's adorable.
It's a really good story. I don't remember who wrote it. I gotta find it.
Yeah, it's funny when you were when someone first told me this topic, and then I promptly forgot about it. But when someone first told me this topic in the group chat, my thought was, when it was like, do you have to be nice on Christmas? My immediate thought I went to was not what we've been talking about today, but like, do you have to be nice to your family on Christmas when they say some ignorant shit and at the family gathering? Because that's where I was thinking. So I did kind of want to talk about that, because like,
oh, definitely.
I think it's fair to say, I don't want to exaggerate too much and say like the United States is more divided than it's ever been, but like, kinda like it just like yeah, exactly. Like,
it's funny. I hear a lot of people talk about that. They're like, "Oh no, I mean, it was much worse during the Civil War." I'm like, yeah, but like even then, the sides were like, yeah, the black people shouldn't have rights, but they shouldn't be slaves. No, they shouldn't have rights, and they should be slaves. That was pretty much the two sides. So I don't know. I don't think I think we're more divided than the Civil War, personally.
Well, it's just like, it's like in recent years, partially because of how prevalent misinformation is, and how big and the role of the internet and things like that, and stupid boomers on Facebook not fact checking shit. Like, people are there's such a level of differing information coming from different sources that people feel very informed about their like wrong opinions. And so like and with Trump and with COVID and with everything, like it's like, and then you take it, like everyone's just so fucking divided and like at each other's throats, and like, and obviously, you know, it is worth getting up in arms about things like gay rights and Black Lives Matter. Those are things worth being upset about and being angry about. Not that they're but you get what I'm saying. Those are things that are important. And so, like, on the holidays, everyone is gathered, everyone's really heightened, and of course, there's that, like, kind of almost cliche of, like, your fucking racist uncle saying some shit at a family gathering, and everyone just getting quiet and awkward and shit like that. And so it's like, if someone is saying really ignorant shit at a Christmas family get together, are you obligated to be nice and just kind of nod and keep your mouth shut for the sake of not making everyone more uncomfortable? You know, is that something you have to do? You know, it's shit like that's always really interesting to me, because like I firmly believe that you need to call shit out, because otherwise stuff is not going to change if you don't call shit out that is bad in the people you know. But like in a family gathering, it's like no one wants to be the person that makes the gathering all quiet and awkward and stuff.
I mean, I think like legitimately some people really want to.
Like some people want to start shit.
I think people like roll up their sleeves going into Christmas trying to start some shit. Like my sister-in-law was like that, and that's why I don't talk to that bitch. Like just for real, I think people just roll up their fucking sleeves getting ready for it. Like it's funny because I made a fatal mistake, which is I got worried about the election, so I actually donated to a Democrat. And of course I went through everything too fast and just go, yeah, except, and now I'm on like fucking 70,000 mailing lists.
Oh, no.
I get emails like, please help us. Oh God, Ian, I'm so sorry. We're not going to be able to win this without your help. We're so sorry for asking. We failed you. But then I think my favorite was, I usually just skim the fucking titles of the things before I delete them so I know what they are. But I think my favorite was, what to say to your racist uncle this Thanksgiving. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're like giving people fucking ammo.
Yeah.
You're giving people like bullet points to go to Christmas dinner with now. And I'm like, Jesus, people, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm kind of glad I don't do dinner with the extended family or stuff anymore, because I got Trump supporters in family, and I'm going to be like, straight up. Like, if someone's, like, what was the one? Because Haley's grandfather, I think, or step-grandfather or some shit, said this a couple, like 2 years ago or something. It's like, oh, Democrats are all communists now, and I can't. We were already almost out the door, so it like made it even more tempting to be like, I came to this close to rather be a communist than a fucking fascist. Bye. Like, no, he's old. He's gonna be dead soon. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's my rationale for getting through a lot of things. They're old. They'll be dead soon. It'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like fucking pick your battles. Like my parents are proof that calling shit out over time can help, because my parents used to be way more anti-LGBT than they are now. Now they are way more chill about it. It's actually really cool to see. But if you're talking about an older relative who you see very occasionally, who is not a terribly politically active person, I mean, you at some point you have to decide, I am not changing anyone's mind here. Is this worth the fallout of me trying to call out Uncle Jimbo?
I guess the other thing worth considering is whether or not anyone who would be harmed by your racist uncle is in the room.
That's
or
true.
if
That's true.
you're in the room.
I have a
Like, so-
relative who casually says the N-word, but like there are no black people in the family, so like no
Right.
one has
And I
ever
mean-
like called him on it, and he's an older guy.
Right, and I mean, it's like you said, you could definitely pick your battles and figure out like at what point is this worth fighting. But like, there's a really sort of basic principle. Like, there's a difference between protecting vulnerable people and recognizing who is actually vulnerable to you in this specific moment. So if you're just in this room full of nothing but your family, who interacts with nothing but your family, and they're spouting some racist nonsense, and you want to get into a fight with them, by all means do if you want to, but like really wonder like how much of this is about you wanting to start shit at your family table versus helping someone that might interact with your family, especially if they're not in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only saying all this theoretically because I have no experience with big family gatherings like that.
There was only one occasion for me. Well, multiple, but only like one occasion where it was like a whole like thing. And that's just in general. I don't know. I tend to have less patience for people, even if they are old and related to me. If they are saying some shit, I don't really care if I'm telling you to piss off, and if you got a heart attack, well, I guess you fucking deserve that one. It's one of those things where like if someone's just saying some shit, I guess I just do not have a filter for it where I will immediately fucking come at them. And that's not like fucking crusader, fucking social justice warrior, geek for fun. Like, that's what the comment section calls me. But like, I think it's just, I just have no time to be in like a space with that. But at the same time, well, if I'm eating, I'm not leaving the room because I want to eat my food. So you better be fucking prepared for this. And I think maybe that's also coming down to being a lawyer and fucking trying to correct.
Oh, well, I mean, you're already an asshole then.
Exactly, right? Like, it's just correcting people on bullshit is like my job. So I don't know. I think that there's been cases where like that's been like in small, just like you see a family member, they say something racist or they say something homophobic, and you say, "Oh, let's dial it back. Hold the fuck on. What was that about?" And then you move on. But then in a larger setting, especially when there's the case of like less people tend to want to avoid conflict and like look away, there's no real resolution to that. Like, even if you fucking, there's no award at the end, and you're right, Matt, there was no changed minds. But I think the most important thing for me, at least, is like, well, no, but now I can sleep soundly at night.
Yeah,
knowing
for sure.
that I didn't shut my mouth up and do that. And obviously that's like a case-by-case basis. But for me, at least, I think just like growing up with my background and like everything is I've got a little bit of, I'd be more uncomfortable sitting in silence and then going home for the rest of the night than if I just said something in the moment and made that one dinner awkward.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's fair. This has nothing to do with anything. You just reminded me of a joke. So there's a cruise ship, and two guys are like, catching smoke, looking off the edge of the ship, and then the ship hits a big wave and it rocks, and both the guys fall off. And people come right in and they're like, "Oh God, we gotta help him!" And they see some sharks come and swim up, and they're like, "Oh God!" And they're trying to throw the floaties out to help the people back onto the boat, and they're not quick enough, and one of the sharks eats one of the guys, and then they're trying to get the floaty to the other guy as the shark comes closer to him, and just as he grabs the floaty, the shark comes up and bumps him, and then immediately swims away. And they pull the guy up. It's like, "That's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I can't believe it left you alone." And he goes, "Oh, I'm a lawyer, professional courtesy."
Hey, babe, why do you feel like sharks so much?
So good.
Yeah, sorry. Just reminded me of it for some reason. I also one time for Halloween when I was like maybe 12 or 13, I dressed up in a nice suit and tie, and I carried around a briefcase and put little horns on my head. And whenever I knocked on the door, they're like, "What are you, a mobster?" I'm like, "No, I'm a lawyer."
Jesus.
Nice.
Very much respect the hustle here.
So good.
Sorry, just random lawyer stories, lawyer jokes, lawyer stories. Anyway,
Yep.
no, Alfie, I think you're right. I think that's the other side of this is like sometimes not being nice is like just the right thing to do with like the racist uncle kind of situation. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that I mostly just try to avoid those situations entirely. I'm like, all right, let's just all be smart about this. No one bring up the thing, and then everybody's happy. But someone's stupid enough to bring up the thing. Like I kind of have like a clock in my head. I'm like, or not a clock. I have like a counter in my head when it comes to that shit, and I'm around, extended family or like Haley's family or whatever. I'm like, all right, I'll give you one, and then if it happens and it's dropped and we move on, then it's fine. And like the they're all communists now thing. The funny thing is, I didn't have to say anything because Haley's mom was the one. Really, we're trying to enjoy our day here. We don't want to talk about this. And I'm like, oh, that was nice of you. Thank you. I'm like, I don't want to be the one to I don't want to be known as like that guy, that shows up to dinner just to fucking argue fucking politics because I'm not interested. I know I'm not going to change a fucking old ass man's mind, and nor do I particularly want to. My opinion, if you've been around on the earth for fucking 80 years or whatever, and you don't know the difference between right and wrong by this point, the world will sort you out, I'm sure.
Like Michael
you don't need help
Shannon
from me.
approach right there.
Yeah, right? I don't know. So it gets complicated.
To maybe take this serious, interesting avenue that Matt brought us down and turn it in the exact opposite direction.
Yeah.
Should we maybe perhaps talk about the more universal idea of whether or not you should be nice on Christmas, which is Santa's naughty and nice list?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's like the basic logic really is just like you create this idea that Santa's got a naughty or nice list. You count your deeds. You're a good kid. You get presents, and it's a good way to kind of keep children in line. Yada yada yada. But it's really kind of sinister and fucked up because it is this one like little innocent story that very easily unravels and becomes this really big symbolic representation of how the entire world functions, where you are basically incentivized to practice certain kinds of good behaviors or bad behaviors based on arbitrary rules that are imposed on you, and if you don't follow them, you're going to get coal.
I mean, that's the funny thing, right? Like, did everyone here go through a YouTube atheist phase?
Yes.
Yes.
Super hard.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, like, even when I was in, like, the deepestness of my YouTube atheist phase, the one thing that always bothered me was, like, the intelligent atheist takes people down by just explaining that God is just a moral construct used to keep people in line. It's just a whole group of people that didn't grow up past the Santa Claus story. And that's something that always bothered me because it kind of contradicts the like legitimately interesting things about theology. We'll not get into it. But at the same time, there is like a knee-jerk kind of thing to that where you're like, yeah, it's not entirely wrong, is it? Because so much of the Santa thing is like, once you realize that Santa's not real as a kid, I think it is your first like full betrayal. I think every kid that really confirms and learns that Santa's not real, their heart breaks just a bit. And I think it is like, even though you don't have the words for it, I think it is that like realization of being lied to.
It is one of those things where, like, I think Freud actually did write about it, where, like, there are certain kinds of, like, rebellions you just sort of have to experience as a kid, and calling your parents out on their bullshit is like the first major one. And one of them being specifically Santa Claus and knowing that he's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting for me because now I'm a father, and yeah, we're gonna do the Santa thing.
As you should.
I'm not sure how long we're gonna do it though. That's my thing. Like, I kind of don't want to be that one because it is really sweet and cute and fun. I think to have kids running around believing in Santa, but I also don't want to ever have to lie. So like, legitimately, if she says to me, "Dad, is Santa Claus real?" I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to say, "Of course he is," because that's where, to me, it feels like that bridge too far, and that's why I think it's kind of worrisome.
There was a study that was done a few years ago that basically tested children's ages and their relationship to Santa Claus, and the results were pretty universally that, in general, most kids don't actually believe that Santa Claus is real. They just go along with it. And they go along with it and have fun. And a lot of them can build up resentment, not because they feel betrayed that Santa wasn't real and that they were lied to. It's that the parents didn't just admit it sooner. And that they had to kind of go on playing it up the whole time. So I don't know. I feel like, in general, because I kind of had that experience as a kid where, like, I don't ever actively remember thinking Santa was an actual person. I just kind of bought the myth and the circumstance and the photos of it all, and that's kind of all I cared about.
See, I know I did. I fully believe Santa was real. I was trying to fucking rig up traps to catch him and shit. I was that kid.
You would. You tried to be like a
That's
super villain.
Ian, but I guess Ian's kind of the outlier in that study. The thing about Santa that's really interesting is like how you can sort of parallel the different incarnations of Santa and his rules based on historical time periods. I mean, Grant Morrison's Claus is kind of this, but like there's a deeper, more interesting history behind it, like how in the early Roman philosophers and the Stoics, and the whole idea was at the end of every day you sit down and you take inventory of your different emotional outbursts and reactions and practices throughout the day, and then you study that as a way to figure out whether or not you were a good or bad person for this day, whether or not you were ruled by your passions or not. And then this later in like the 13th and 14th centuries get incorporated into churches and eventually becomes this idea of a confessional and this whole notion that to be a good person isn't just to be a good person, it's to perform a kind of service where at the end of it, you allow yourself to be judged by someone else who's the real authority on being a good person or a bad person. And around the same time this stuff pops up is around the same time in Germany where the Santa Claus myth starts developing certain key features like a naughty and nice list and like Krampus and that kind of stuff. So it's all interconnected and related in weird sort of fuzzy historical ways, which is just why I say like it's a goofy thing that has a really sinister implication, because you could very easily go from Santa's a naughty or nice list, you tell kids so that they behave well, to something a lot more interesting and sinister and dangerous politically about how disciplinary power works and instantiates certain kinds of beliefs about right and wrong to everyone on a societal level. I mean, this is the sort of like broad strokes Foucault point of like schools are prisons, because they kind of are.
God damn. Steve's like, oh, Matt brought up a really interesting and serious point, and then like, can I make it silly? Let's talk about Santa. And then fucking Foucault comes out.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. I was just like, Jesus, thought we were gonna have a fun time talking about Santa.
No, I mean, I think that is all really interesting stuff, because you know the idea of naughty and nice. Something that I find interesting, but like the whole naughty and nice dynamic is so often it's like it's not like really applied anyway as far as Santa is concerned. Like, all right, so I've been watching through the Santa Claus films over the last couple weeks, mostly because Mr. Sunday Movies started doing it and it sounded like fun. And in the Santa Claus 2, Tim Allen replaces himself with a toy evil Santa, and he's evil because he's actually applying the rules of the naughty and nice list and wanting to give children coal because no one meets his standards. And at the same time, like, yeah, but like, kids are little shit demons most of the time. Like, when you really get down to it, like, what kid should qualify for the nice list? What kind of, like, some of the stuff that kids do is just awful because children are little sociopaths, and your job as an adult is to try to teach them to not be that way. And I don't know, it's interesting because Santa is a tool for doing such, and I guess I find the Santa Claus 2's point really interesting. Is like, oh no, even though they're naughty, we cut them slack and give them toys and treat them that way as a way to teach them to be nice. Because if they know that they should be, at the very least, then that helps encourage it.
Well, and there's also like a nice little optimistic turn there where, like, let's say theoretically that Santa's got naughty nice list, everyone believes in it, but Santa never actually gives anyone cold because every kid gets presents. And it sort of becomes almost this sort of sweet, noble lie where the kids are like, okay, I wasn't good, yet somehow I still got a present. So maybe I should actually be good. And
or
so just
they
the
take the wrong lesson from it.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna go there, but like there is a sort of like inspirational, almost like Christian-y message of like, wow, regardless of how bad I am, this person still gave to me, and therefore I should deserve it.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the other, then there's, like I said, there's the dark ending of that, right? The version of like, oh wow, I was awful all year and I got a present anyway. Guess I get to keep being awful and I'll keep getting presents. Awesome.
Right. I mean, like, there are two schools of thought there. I was probably the latter as a kid, not gonna lie.
I think every kid was the latter as a kid. They thought they were getting away with it, and then I think kids need someone to be a dick to them, and then they realize how awful that is, and then they straighten up and fly right. Because that's what I think happened with me. I was kind of like a shitty kid, and then eventually enough people were dicks to me back that I was like, oh, is it because I'm a dick? Yeah, it's because you're a dick. Oh, I'll cut that out.
Slightly unrelated, but that does kind of remind me about like how, as a kid, everyone was like all the teachers and parents were so against fighting. But not gonna lie, I feel like sometimes kids do just kind of need to beat each other up in the playground to kind of figure themselves out.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like this is completely different topic. This is me wondering whether or not I've internalized too much, toxic masculinity. But like legitimately, I think sometimes you just need to fucking fight. Like, I legitimately feel like 90% of the world's problems would be solved if people could still fight. Like Mitch McConnell wouldn't act like that if someone just fucking shot his ass. like fucking duels were a thing. Mitch McConnell wouldn't fuck around with that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, violence is wrong and everything, but sometimes you just really gotta deck someone's halls.
Hold on. Let's just establish some ground rules here, folks.
No, fucking duels.
No,
Hashtag bring back the duel.
No, because like, first you had me, then you lost me.
No, fucking duels, man. Fucking duels.
Because you said fight.
and a duel is a gentlemanly fight taken to the logical extreme. You can choose a non-lethal weapon. You could choose a sword, and then the second you get a cut, you're like, okay, I'm out, I concede.
Oh, so you're trusting that to gentleman's code to be a thing with the sword?
Yeah, legit. I would support it. I would sign a petition to bring back the duel.
Oh my god!
I think we made a mistake losing one.
Martial arts or just a fist fight, like get out of your system. It's like, yeah, I can understand that. I've done boxing.
No, that too.
No, not that too. There's a difference when you can bring a knife as well if you want.
No. Like it'd have to be a gentlemanly thing. Like that's things you need gentlemanly rules about it, because otherwise then you prosecute them for assault. But you sign into it and like, okay, neither of us is going to take legal action about this. So you can't be charged for my murder, vice versa. You can't charge me with assault because you're choosing the weapons. I'm challenging you to this fight, and it's a fight to the death or until one of us concedes and gives up. Fucking just could you imagine? Mitch McConnell got like fucking shook that people came and like yelled at him when he was out at dinner over the fucking like healthcare reforms he was trying to push through before McCain died. Like, could you imagine if someone just like fucking challenged Mitch McConnell to a duel like every other day? He wouldn't fuck around anymore.
The actual
That's
kind of
going to be a January topic, which is violence ever justified?
The answer is yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. I mean, I guarantee you Ben Shapiro would not be a problem anymore if we could just bully the crap out of him.
Oh my God,
I
Ben
mean,
Shapiro
if
deserves to
someone
get bullied so hard.
He really does. He really does.
You know that fucking Richard Spencer getting decked in the face video
Yes.
is really great, and just more people just need to be able to get fucking punched
I
sometimes.
love
Like, it
that
needs to
Straight
be
from the
socially
Top wrote
acceptable.
an entire song about Richard Spencer getting punched in the face. It's called "You Just Got Knocked the Fuck Out."
Yeah, it's good shit. No, like seriously, just people would be less dickish if just the possibility of violence that could not end someone's whole social being, like I could never get a job again if I got fired from my job for punching my boss. But like, think about how much my boss would learn or how much better my boss would be at talking to people if he knew there was the possibility that someone would just punch him in the face when he says really asshole-ish things like what was the one? Oh, what was the name of that slime that used to work here? The one with all the tattoos. Legitimate quote from my boss, and I just felt like disgust. I'm just like, man, someone just punched him in the fucking face right now. That'd be a lesson.
Slime outside of like 80s cartoon supervillains.
That's
My boss.
Slime Donatello.
Oh, yeah, so I don't know, fucking good old, like, and just, you know, fucking, we'll wrap this back. The fucking people rushing out to retail stores and just treating the people behind the register like straight dog shit. That would stop if it was like perfectly socially acceptable for the person behind the register to just fucking deck you one.
Oh, dude, that's
It'd
like
be great.
That's like the
really
shit.
good
That,
Demetri Martin bit where he's like, you should be able to like run one person over with your car a year. And
Oh,
so when you
yeah.
finally do, the person who gets run over has like a real wake up call, like, wow, he was allowed to hit one person and he hit me.
dude, that's like that's exactly the shit. That's exactly the thing, is that they're like when fucking people are just like, ugh, if like retail workers didn't have self-control, we like, that's the thing people always say with cops, is that like everyone's just like, oh well, like cops have a stressful job, that's why they sometimes fucking lose it and do some fucking asinine shit. And I'm just like, and everyone's just like retail workers and shit have to put up with so much crap, and we can't say shit because there's like consequences and shit. And like if I worked in retail and like someone came in which is like, wow, I can't believe you guys are open on Christmas, if I had the ability to say, yeah, because you fuckos keep coming in here, then like that shit would stop immediately.
Yeah, for real. Like there's such a dynamic there, and I think it's just this there's these societal structures that have been put in place that seem to encourage people to just be inconsiderate assholes, and one of those structures is we punish people more harshly for having genuine reactions of justified anger than we do people for just being like continually unbearable.
Well, and that's the other thing you really realize working retail, is that there are a million precautions to protect the consumer from things that happen inside the store. Like there's all these safety laws you have to follow, there's all the following people around and asking them if they need help, all of the like making sure they don't get the wrong idea depending on what you say and what you do. But there's literally no rule anywhere that protects the retail worker from the customer. And so like you can literally just get verbally or physically abused constantly, and there is nothing in like your company bylaws that says this customer was in the wrong ever, especially if you work at like a major company like Target or Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of legitimately the worst. Like, I used to have a manager that would complain about this shit all the time, where she was just like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to tell my people if I can't literally have their back when a customer's being a shithead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's shit like that it's bothersome. And so I think that, the social weight to not be the asshole on Christmas seems to really be put under strain, and it seems to be put mainly upon people that kind of are put through the most stress on the holiday, and it's I don't know, it's just sad. It's the media portrayal of the person who is not in love with Christmas, of the person who can't stand the holiday, is almost entirely negative. And if it's not, it's usually displayed that like they'll get over it, they'll come through, they just need someone to be all cheery and extra Christmassy to them. That's usually the kind of framing for it, I guess I'd say.
Okay, so to be fair though, I do want to push back on that a little bit, because we've had this whole conversation and I agree with like mostly what everyone's always said here. But I want to push back a little bit and just say, in real life, for sure, it seems like if you don't enjoy Christmas, you come off as an asshole. Like, this is true of families, this is true of retail, this is true of everything we've talked about. But when we're talking about like the portrayal of assholes during Christmas on fiction, it doesn't seem to me in any example I can think of, like Elf or Christmas Carol or The Grinch or anything like that, that the issue is they don't enjoy Christmas and therefore they're an asshole. It's that they're an asshole and it just takes Christmas to make them not one. So like the dad in Elf is just a shitty human being, and it takes the circumstances around Christmas and Buddy's constant cheer to show him why he's being an asshole and he enjoys his Christmas. It's the same thing with the Grinch, where the Grinch is just kind of honestly sort of an asshole, and he learns to appreciate people through what they learned through Christmas. And then in A Christmas Carol, Scrooge is legitimately a terrible human being that learns to be a good person, and he just so happens to exercise that goodness by being festive during Christmas. So I don't think it's necessarily that like the media and art has created this image that if you are mean on Christmas, you're automatically an asshole. I think in general, though, it's more along the lines of the world makes it really easy to be an asshole. And it just so happens that Christmas makes it even harder to have self-control. And that's a separate issue from portrayals of assholes in Christmas movies.
Maybe, I don't know, I think there is some connection between the two of them. I think there's this guilt or this extra perception that if you blow up on Christmas because of the stresses you're under, then you're becoming like the villain in a Christmas movie.
Okay, but like, what's an example of a movie where the asshole is justified in being an asshole?
We established It's a Wonderful Life last time as the rise of evil, so...
That's true.
So like the one example I can think of to your point would be something like Christmas Vacation, where the stresses of Christmas like really weigh on this dude and he does kind of blow up, but everyone immediately forgives him for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
he
like
also fucking kidnaps his boss and enacts violence upon him. So
yeah, exactly. Why not? We've already established that this is a thing we should be doing. But no, I just want to take up for the Christmas fiction and the Hallmark movies and everything a little bit, because again, I think...
yeah, how dare I? Of course, I touched Steve's most holy of texts.
He really did. But to come full circle to the point I made earlier, it's not necessarily that you're being an asshole on Christmas and that's the egregious thing. It's that you're already an asshole and the Christmas is just a revealing of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right. I think like in the text itself, you're right. I think is it fair to say there's a popular perception that it's taken the other way? That it's not just that this person is bad, therefore, and Christmas helps them be better, but it's like this person is bad because they hate Christmas, or they hate Christmas because they're bad. Kind of situation that's getting portrayed or projected onto the everyday person.
I mean, I think that comes more from just like we've been talking about, like about real life retail family experiences and expectations, where like your parents will be like, you're being an asshole just because you're in a bad mood during Christmas or something like that, or your boss is like, I can't believe you're grumpy that you're listening to 8 hours of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. How dare you? And again,
Did I tell my Dick in a Box story?
No, what is this?
On here at all? Okay. So when I was working at Goodwill, everyone was just sick of the Christmas music. They'd started it like the day after Halloween, and it was basically 2 months of Christmas music. It was awful. And so the radio had been changed from just like a normal radio getting the local stations plugged into the intercom to being an internet radio. So the manager did some research out of the kindness of her heart and found, because it was required to be playing Christmas music because it increases business. But out of the kindness of her heart, she found a radio station that would play Christmas music, but it was all gag Christmas songs that basically there's only the one. So you're not listening to the same 3 songs by 20 different artists.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like, so it's all like stuff on the tier of, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Of just like really, really specific, really, really weird things. Probably I Want a Hippopotamus and Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer were the most mainstream songs played on this station. And everyone is actually doing pretty well. And then I hear, Damn Girl. The lyrics, you know it's Christmas and my heart is open wide. I'm like, oh god. So I run and get the manager. I'm like, we gotta change the station right now. We've gotta do it now. She's like, yeah, no, listen, I know the Christmas music gets annoying, but like, this is our compromise. I'm like, no, this is not it. This is great, but you gotta change it now. And then before I could explain, it's my dick in a box. Broadcasting across the store.
That just gives me the image of like, you start hearing and then like dramatic like pull back 360 zoom around you. It's like your eyes like widen and then like zooms right in your eye and you're like, no, and like run mad dash through the thing, like jumping over people and throwing old ladies to the ground. You get to like the sound booth, you rip over the door, you're like, no. You just like see the person tie down as like the words dick like spoken. It's just like a really, that's like a scene in a comedy.
Oh, I can't.
So I mean, the sad part about all of this is because of that song, they had changed the station and they never changed it back.
Oh god.
That's why I'm glad I'm not working in the office right now, because I know for a fact, because there are a couple people who just don't have the capability to work from home, that one of our managers, who is just super Christian, is playing a bunch of like really Jesus-y Christmas music and worship music, and I'm just like,
that's the worst kind.
And I feel like somebody could probably complain to HR about that, because that doesn't seem like a thing that managers should be able to just fucking do and get away with. So like, I feel like you could complain about that, but like no one's going to, because like no one wants to be that person.
It's also just one of those things where, like, in all of my job experiences, calling HR is a fucking joke, and it almost never helps.
Well, it's because they're
they're
there to protect the company, not you.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, like, legitimately, I've known HR as bullshit ever since you remember that show, Undercover Boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very first episode, the pilot is the CEO of Hooters goes to a Hooters, and the manager there is like, all right, girls, if you want to be able to get off early, you're going to have to play my reindeer games. And he, like, forces the wait staff, when no customers are in the building, mind you, to do just, like, really degrading shit. Like, eating out of bowls with their hands behind their back and shit like that. And the owner of the company, comes to the board. He's talking about his experiences, just being like absolutely horrified, particularly by this guy. And legitimately, I shit you not, one of the board members sits there and goes, "Well, he's a manager. Do you think there's anything we can do to salvage him?" And I'm like, "Just what the fuck?" And I realize that's just the fucking mentality of corporate America. Anyway,
Amazing.
yeah, no, like you could go watch the clip. It's absolutely impressive. Apparently, I'm gonna go track down this episode. Apparently, Jeff Bezos even did an episode of Undercover Boss, and I'm like, fucking what?
I almost
Really?
refuse to believe that.
I know, and apparently, like, he did it, and he's like, "No, it's awful. This is a really, really hard job, and it puts a lot of strain on the workers. But in order to get our business to operate the way that people want it to, it's there's no other way to do it. This is just what it has to be." I'm like, God damn.
That does kind of reveal the other end of the whole movie theater experience with Manos and your call center thing. We're like, why are you still open during Christmas? And it's because of the people who call in. To be honest, though, even if you didn't have people calling in, even if you had 0 customers, they'd probably still leave you open just on the off chance that they could make some money.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing for sure, is that like I feel like you can take almost any topic and then come back to capitalism kind of sucks dick. And
So should you be nice on Christmas? I don't fucking know, but capitalism sucks.
And we should
Why
fight.
do we always end up here? It seems like no matter what topic, we always end up at, capitalism's garbage.
it's all consuming. It is all around us for sure. And I mean that's like, because like fucking people who are overworked and underpaid, like they're not gonna be fucking nice on Christmas, because the fuck do they have to, oh god, I was about to say the fuck do they have to be happy about, but that just feels really horrible to say. So
But seriously,
I'm just going to
they?
say that I was going to say that, but not actually say that. But like, it's like, oh, it's fucking like, okay, like actually, real talk, fun fact. My wife and I, so we finished college, we moved down to South Carolina, we were looking for jobs, and we had a really hard time finding a job. And we had a friend who was like, well, hey, if you want like some work, I actually do work in an Amazon fulfillment center, and if you want, I can get you a job. You don't have to stay, but you can just come and work for however long you want to work and just get some money. And we're like, fuck it, sure, why not? We're still looking for a job, so might as well like earn some money. I have worked in an Amazon fulfillment center for like a week, and then I was just like, nope, fuck that shit, I'm out. And I'm just like, you could not pay, like, fucking, you could say, like, oh, we're gonna pay you 6 figures, and I would not want to fucking work there. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's nuts. It's fucking crazy. That has really nothing to do with anything, but I mean, like, capitalism does impose upon people a situation in which you almost really can't expect them to be cheery on Christmas, because the fuck do they have in their life to be cheery about? And that's super like fucking nihilistic and terrible, because obviously even people in shitty workplace situations, there are plenty of those people who do still find happiness in their lives, obviously, because they have family and shit like that. But like that is a major factor to why someone could be shitty on the holidays. And it's one of those like stupid, it's like that stupid fucking like Instagram quote of like fucking always be nice to people because you don't know what kind of battles they're fucking dealing with. But it's like, that's the truth. Like you don't if someone's shitty to you, because I still like work in a situation where I'm dealing with customers. If someone's shitty to me, if you talk to them long enough, you typically find out that they're something else in their life is going on that's making them be shitty. And so like it's rarely just like they're shitty about this one thing on Christmas. It's like there's a bunch of other shit going on in the background of their life that has culminated in them being super shitty about this particular situation. So whenever someone's pissed on Christmas, I usually try to be like, the holidays are probably just bringing up a bunch of shit that is going wrong for them already.
Mm-hmm. I mean, certainly. Yeah, everyone's got their shit, and for everyone, the worst thing that's happening to them is the worst thing that's ever happened. And yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, God, that's hard to remember when you're in the
Oh yeah,
fucking
oh
moment of
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think that kind of wraps us up. I don't know if we got much else to go on past that point. Initially, I talked about, oh, maybe we should do 2 episodes because this could go up on the 25th, and then we technically got one more episode slated for this month on the 27th. But it would conceptually be a review topic, and I don't know if we'd have time to do it. Unless everyone here has, like, seen a thing, and we could do it right now. So,
Does it have to
anyone
be-
watch some...
Would it have to be Christmas related?
It doesn't have to be Christmas, but it does have to be holiday, because it's still holiday.
Has everyone watched the Lego Star Wars holiday special?
No, I wanted to, but I
Oh,
was waiting
fuck
for
all of
Christmas.
Go fuck yourself.
Can I do one? Because I don't think you've done it on the channel.
What you
It's
got?
kind of holiday related. Have you guys ever reviewed Spider-Verse?
Oh shit.
No,
I can talk about,
but
I can talk
holiday
about
movie.
Spider-Verse right fucking now. I fucking love that movie.
That's what I mean.
Spider-Verse is a holiday movie?
Yeah, it's at
Like,
Christmas.
during the winter. It's a Christmas movie in the same
It
way
has a
that
Christmas
Die Hard
album
is.
that came out with it. So yeah, definitely. It's got
Yeah,
Spidey
it does have
bells.
Spider-Man sings the fucking jingles.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's do Spider-Verse. It's been a couple months since I've seen it, but can we bust out the episode right now?
Yeah.
Fucking, I just watched that shit like last week. I watched, dude. I shit you not. I watched Spider-Verse on the fucking reg. I love
I
that.
listened to that
Yeah,
soundtrack.
not much going
like,
on. Better
daily.
pop in.
Dude, the soundtrack's so fucking good. Oh,
Okay,
so
well, if
good.
we're about to fucking do if we're about to do the fucking review, let's just fucking do the review. We'll sign out of this episode and record the next one. All right, everyone, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Christmas erotica lover. Ho ho, bitch.
I am the champion of Christmas.
And I'm about to talk about my spider Sona.
There we go. And we are your geeky gentlemen, and we'll be discussing things.
Do 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 do.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!